At 6 o'clock, we'll call this meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, also I'm going to read our mission statement. In partnership with the communities, the mission of the Untitled School District is to educate individuals in an environment of trust and respect so they become self-directed, responsible, lifelong learners. Okay, roll call. All board members are present, as is Superintendent Hempstead and our Special Ed Director, Mary Ann Martin. She's going to be giving a report tonight. Do we have any changes to the agenda, Chairman?
We do not.
No changes to the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve? So, motion by Nicole. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by David. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments, rebel recognition. I don't think anybody is speaking tonight. All right, rebel recognition. I just want to shout out to everybody involved with prom. Our kids had prom not this weekend, the wet weekend, not the hurricane weekend like this weekend. But just seeing the gym decorated, the kids all dressed up, and they made the most out of a very wet day. David's daughter attended too, wet and cold. And I had an opportunity to go to post-prom, and oh my gosh, those kids were having so much fun. It was very fun to see. I did registration, but you had to halt them because you're like, I got to check you in or we're calling your parents. So who are you? Got my highlighter out and did all that. But Nicole Leitner really, I got to send kudos out to her because, they found out we couldn't use the concession money anymore, kind of like right before basketball season, and she just really pulled everybody together, and they put on a really nice prom for the kids. So I think
Shout out to the PCN grant too. I think
that's
they
right, yeah.
$5,000 towards it or something.
They did.
Well, which that was helped us with the decision.
Yeah.
And so that was nice.
Yeah. So that was fun. Any other rebel recognition?
I want to just say thank you to all of our spring athletes for their patience. And this has just been an awful spring, and they haven't got their contests in anywhere near what they should be. And it's just been like today, it's supposed to be softball again and no game. I think baseball's had some games, but junior high baseball hasn't even played. And their end of the season is Thursday. So they're working on trying to find more games. It's just been a crazy spring. So just want to say we understand the frustration out there, and we hope that something can happen here in the next week. So,
Did you have one? Oh, sorry. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, so post week, but thank you, teachers. Can't say thank you enough, so.
for sure.
Just a choir concert the other night went to was excellent. The kids did a fantastic job. It was just fun to see so many involved.
Marcus, band concert tonight.
Band concert tonight.
So,
Indoor things happening.
yes. There you go.
We have a roof. We can have things. Wonderful. All right, let's move on. Reports. 6.1 Special Education Report. Mary Ann. Thank you.
Okay, I'll make this short and sweet. It's only Tuesday. So I just kind of wrote down our students receiving special education services for 21. Currently, it's 294 students. October 25th, it was 295. Last May, it was 302. So we're down just a little bit, but I mean, there's always kind of that ebb and flow within special ed. New students are being referred and tested. We also have kids that kind of test out, they meet their goals and objectives, and then they get out of special education, which is a great thing. I always say that's something to celebrate. And then we also have kids that move out of the district, kids that move into the district. So it's kind of a number that's fluid. And so just thought I'd break down that information. Evaluations, Tiffany Hushley, she's our new school psychologist this year. She's been a great addition to our special education team at DGF. first semester, she was involved in 27 evals, 6 initials, the rest were reevaluations, which were a lot. Currently, I know the special ed team is still finishing up new referrals or new evals right now, trying to get those in before the end of the school year. Evaluations have been consistent throughout the year. Let's see, staffing. So for the 22-23 school year for special ed, we hired our high school special education teacher, we hired a new speech teacher, and then also our early childhood special ed teacher, which I know you guys have already approved. So that's kind of exciting that we found those, that we have those teachers already on board for next school year. We need to hire for the 22-23 school year yet is 4 special ed paras for DGF Elementary, 2 special ed paras for the middle school, and 3 special ed paras for the high school. And Katie Oman and I did do an interview last week, and we actually hired a high school paraprofessional for next year. So we have one. Check that off. So that's good. But paras have been really difficult to find, and we've had some leaving, some going back to school, some finding different jobs. And so that's really been hard this year. I take it a little bit personal with some of those things. I'm like, how can we, keep people here? So keep trying new things and seeing what I can do differently too. So staff evaluations for special ed. I wasn't sure if you guys knew about how the eval process works, but I just thought I'd let you know. So this year, so every year teachers are tenured teachers on a 3-year rotation for evaluations. So this year I had 5 tenured special ed teachers that were on my rotation. So that just means 1 evaluation. And then I had 9 non-tenured special ed teachers. That means 3 evaluations throughout the school year. So those are all completed. And then special education paraprofessional evaluations. I do not do every paraprofessional every year. They're on a 3-year rotation as well, except for if you're a brand new para. And if you're hired at the beginning of the year, I also do that, and then you're on a 3-year rotation after that. But did 18 special ed para evals this school year. So that's 1 evaluation. My monthly meetings and conferences, MDE has their special education directors forum. They have that 1 time a month. They have that virtual, they've been doing that virtually since COVID, and they have continued with that, and that's been really nice because you're not required to drive down to the cities. And now MDE, they're changing their office from Roseville to somewhere else. I don't know if you, I can't remember where it's at, but
it's north somewhere.
Yeah, but most of their staff are still working off-site right now. And then I attend my Region 4 directors meeting. That's 1 time per month, and that has been at Lakes Country Service Co-op in Burton Falls. Since COVID, that's been virtually as well. So that's kind of nice for me too. It saves that travel time, so I don't have to drive. We are meeting in person in June. So in the morning, we're having our special ed meeting, and then in the afternoon, we're having a lawyer come out and they're talking about school law. So principals from Region 4 are also invited to that meeting. So we make sure we got that information out to our principals at DGF as well. And then this week I'm going, on Wednesday after school, I'm going to Brainerd for the Minnesota Administrators for Special Education. It's May's conference. They have their spring conference, and that's May 12th through the 13th. So I'm going to be attending that. Our 21-22, it's MDE, Indicator Data Collection. It's called IDC. It's new name. It's our record review. We had areas with B1, that's child find, so making sure that we're doing our referrals in a timely manner. Then it's C1, timely receipt of services. So if a student qualifies, are you providing those services in a timely manner? Are you starting the IPs? And then C8, it's early childhood transition. So when a student, it's before a student turns 3 years old, you have to move them from that birth to 2 to early childhood, and you have to do that testing, and it all has to be done in a timely, there's a timeline. Becky would know that better than me, but so we had total monitoring of 3 areas from MDE. That was due April 15th, and we were compliant in all 3 areas, so we have no further action that we need to do at DGF for that. my to-do list is to finish ESY planning and fill staffing needs. Right now, I'm in need of a speech teacher for ESY, so that's kind of where I'm at, and it's always lots to do. Does anybody have any questions though regarding special education or any other questions for me?
There was a virtual meeting today at the Capitol regarding the cross subsidy. I was not able to get to it. My plan was to, and I was doing other things, so I didn't get to it.
I watched it.
Did you watch it? Super. Do you
Yes.
have anything to share on that?
Just that, so it was a couple superintendents and there's a couple parents that talked, and superintendent of Minneapolis schools, and a couple other people talked. They just talked about the great need for the money for the cross subsidy because we're not fully funded for special education, and how much more money that takes out of the general education funds. And as a district, obviously, we all know this, doesn't matter if we have 5 kids, 500 kids that receive special services, we can't not provide those services to those students. And so a district is in a position where it doesn't matter how much you're getting funded from the state, we have to provide those services.
Yeah, so you guys remember maybe when we were down at MSBA, we're short here at $1.2 million on our cross subsidy numbers. So there's a big push right now, so I got some information too to talk to our governor to get to. So one thing I'll be sending is a letter to our representatives and also to the governor, just saying, hey, you know, we're just another school asking for the same thing, so they get this list. So that will be sent to, so thanks, Marianne, for that. I just didn't get to it today, and they thought something they haven't videoed, I think, too, or recorded, I should say. So.
Yeah, and they know, like, with Minneapolis, I think it was, their difference is 55 million.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Minneapolis is huge, but I mean, it's such a big difference in our budget. I think our budget for special ed is 3.1 million, and then, you know, we're reimbursed 2.1 million, or whatever, so we're short, better. So it's quite a big difference.
Thank you, Marianne. Appreciate it. All right, 6.2 board committee reports. I did pull out our board work session just to read to the public what we talked about the other evening, and then you guys can chime in on the credit approval committee. So we met last Monday evening, some critical things that we needed to talk about as a school board, our current budget, potential exclusions from our project to save money at the Glendon site, our health insurance update. We talked about that at our previous board meeting that we were going out to bids, our Rebel Mascot, and a couple just middle school gym, the floor on that. So just to kind of be transparent with the community on that, and you're going to go into more detail in your report on those such items. So, and Amy and Brittany just got out of grad credit approval committee. You guys want to give an update?
Sure. Yep. Well, we started a committee because we had to, and there wasn't one. So it was just our first meeting, looking at approval for grad credits that people have submitted for.
Trying to possibly develop some criteria that we need to go by in order to get those approved. And we did not finish. An hour went very quickly, so we are meeting again tomorrow. So we can hopefully button this up as quickly as possible so teachers know what to anticipate.
We also had a policy meeting, and we didn't change anything major. There was some grammatical errors that were caught, but other than that, there was a notation in there in the wellness policy that we weren't able to use recess time as a punishment, so we can't pull kids from recess. So I checked with the principals to make sure that that was consistent with our practice so that they were meshing. And they said as a rule, we don't do that. But if a child's acting out on the playground and it's not safe for them to be there, obviously we have to pull them from there during that time. So we added just a little caveat that at the discretion of the principal that would be added. But that was the only change that was made to policy.
Wonderful. Any other committees? All right, we'll move on to 6.3, superintendent report.
Yeah, so graduation update, as of today, that it'll be in the current high school gym. And I really now, after my meetings last week, I just don't see it going to the new gym. It's gonna be close, it's gonna be finishing up right around that time, but just for logistics and making sure that we're set up and ready, I would say it's 98% chance we're just gonna stay in that gym, in the existing one. And I'm just trying to remember, we have two of you, Ronnie and
Nicole.
I thought it was.
Yes, oh.
Yeah,
yeah.
doing the, yeah,
They're gonna go
yeah,
with
yeah, so, sorry.
That's why I was like, what am I agreeing to?
Yeah. Didn't I already graduate? No. Just want to acknowledge that you two have graduated. Anyway, so yeah, that's this, I just want to make sure, it's on May 22nd, and it'll be in that gym. Yeah, so,
And Katie Oman, has she reached out to you?
yeah, she should be, she will soon, if she hasn't, okay.
Okay.
And so I know too, in this, you're gonna approve the preliminary graduating class. So that's in our minutes here, in the agenda here later. Prom update, so I was just gonna ask you, how did prom go? But I heard the same thing, I heard it went really well. My daughter was a chaperone for a little bit of it. She said when she was there, it was, for the dance and that, she said, kids seemed like they had a great time. So, yep, just wanted to thank everybody and all the hard work on it too. I know that committee really got to work this year and made it happen, and it was super successful. So that Mascot update. So we talked about this as a group of board members, I don't know, a couple months ago, trying to look at some ideas and thoughts. There's kids at the high school have been asking Mr. Lepard, we need a mascot, we want a mascot, what can we do about the mascot? We met as a group, came up with some ideas, the admin team did. They shared it then with the students. The students took it, kind of ran with it, and came up with really just two. It was the only thing they wanted to vote on is the two. So once they've established that list of two, I believe it was last Monday, I think they voted then officially. And it was unanimous. I think it was something like 90% or something like that for the one, which is super. If it wouldn't have been that unanimous, we'd have to probably go back and say, okay, what do we want to do? I think it's oftentimes in a community, or in this case, communities, and a mascot, it's near and dear, and I was a this, and I was a that, I was a buffalo, I was a locomotive, or I was a tiger. But I think it's so important for us as a community to let these students choose. And that's what our drive was, is to let them talk about it, let them visit about it, let them do the mocking up of what they like or don't like. And so that's who we let vote. The teachers had some input too. They asked if they could. I guess I said it's for the kids, but if you want to vote, great, but it's not going to really change what we do because it's for the kids. We're still the Rebels, we're still DGF, and we still have great colors. And so I think that's what the community needs to hear too. We are still the DGF Rebels, and we still have our school colors, and the mascot is what our kids wanted. What a perfect fit, in my opinion. And that's what we want to move forward with. We're going to have a new school starting next fall with all the updates, and it's going to be exciting. And moving forward, there will always be discussion about should we have changed, shouldn't we have changed, and I get all of it. But this is that same thing. It's that clean start. This is what the kids want. It was unanimous, basically. So I thought, perfect. Kudos to the kids for their work and input on it, and excited to move forward. So tonight, I think it's in here too, for you guys just to approve that. So it's an official action from the board, so we can move on. Forward. So anyway, health insurance update. We did get a bid from Sanford. There were two options. It was a Sanford True option and a Sanford Signature Series option. The numbers came back much better than I thought they would. I have some numbers here too, and I'll share with the budget committee. The teachers did vote. Then you want to stay with Peep or do you want to go to Sanford? They voted. It closed, I believe, yesterday, and so they did vote for Sanford. So that's also good news because their rates and whatnot are going to not change a whole lot, depending on what they choose. Obviously, there's a couple different plans. They can choose from 2 plans in the True and 2 plans from the Signature, so a total of 4 plans are available to them. We had that discussion with them, so the teachers union representation got to see that as well. Excuse me, as well. So no, it was a a pleasant surprise. Now, remember, this is a one-year deal. And so we're bridging a gap, right, for a year. We made the other action with Brian previously, which helped, obviously. But we're going to have to go through this process again next year. I hope that that is as positive as this experience was. So I do have numbers here, so at the budget committee, we can talk about it. Anybody else wants to see them, I made a little sheet here for you. And I also had peeps on there so you can compare what were they going to go to. And you'll see that it was going to be much better for us. So anyway, that's where that's at. Middle school gym update. You know, this is an ongoing fight with Comstock's insurance. We had some more discussion about where they ran it through. They ran it through their general liability. We are now pursuing it through their builder's risk policy. And I believe that's going to show a little bit better results than the other one. Unfortunately, to remove the mold, I do have one bid from Schematic for $75,000 to remove the mold. And then it's an additional $77,000 to replace the gym floor. Obviously, we're pursuing the insurance angle first, and we have been since October. We are going to continue to do so. Talked with Kip, our lawyer, this afternoon, and he feels that this is going to be better for us once it goes through the builder's risk. He's going to get involved, and he's going to start making phone calls to make sure it's processed appropriately. So we're hopeful that that can happen, and so we can get the mold, we can clean it out. It's been sealed, so that's one thing, you're not have to worry about that, but it needs to get removed. So.
Would that happen prior to the beginning of the school year?
Our plan is to set it up and schedule with Jay Wood. It's going to be this summer. We are now waiting on, if we're going to go with Schematic, I need to get another bid to see if there's another way to remedy the mold. This is their proposal, and so I'm going to have to pursue that. But yes, the goal is to get it done this summer.
Did they get an indication how long that project would take?
It goes pretty quick if you know, the removing, well, with the removal and the mold and whatever, because of the bid I got from Schematic is they got to make a dome in there, a plastic dome. So anything they tear out, it doesn't get out into the air, it doesn't get into our HVAC system. That's why it's expensive, and they got to tear it up, bag it all up, and dispose of it. You know, it's kind of like an asbestos, basically, removal. Very similar. Then the flooring guys have to come in after Schematic has cleaned it, made sure it's safe, and then they'll put the floor in. This high school gym floor here, a brand new floor, that went in a week. It was done, they're already painted it, they're waiting to seal it. So if you go quick to put it back in, I guess the timeline on getting the mold and all that too, so that'll probably extend it. So I'd say in 2 weeks it could be done. You know, a week to rip it out, clean it, gets, you know, a week, and the next week then to lay it back down. But working through that process as well. So hopefully we can get some good news soon from Comstock's Insurance. Construction update at the budget committee meeting following this board meeting. I have some numbers and a bunch of things to share with you on that. If you walk around the building, things are starting to happen. They're moving faster now. We got things in place. Obviously, the weather today didn't help us in Dilworth. There are some leaks here and there, but in this site they got on right away and they felt like there was no further damage. Same with Dilworth, there was, you know, it just was a torrential downpour, so we had some of that. But yeah, it's just kind of impeding the progress because they're on the roof in Dilworth and they can't be up there when there's lightning. So, or it's not recommended. We don't want to get into that deal. So anyway, it is moving along and it's taking shape and yeah. It's going to be really nice next fall. That's it. So, questions?
All right. 7.1, approval of the April 25th, 2022 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by David, is there a second? Laura? Oh, I thought, okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, David, thank you. Any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda, claims and accounts, Laura.
$330,914.24.
All right, also in your packet is the approved treasurer's monthly budget report. We have resignations of Lauren Summers, paraprofessional, effective May 2nd of this year. Approve the resignation of Nikki Wardine, activities attendance, effective May 27th of this year. Retirement of Sherry Ling, transportation, effective May 30th, 2022. We have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Amy, is there a second?
I'll take it. There you go.
All right, any questions or discussion?
Well, I think it's appropriate to say thank you to,
Sherry?
yeah, Sherry and Nikki for their years of service to the district. So I just want to make sure we said that tonight too. So thank them for that.
Did have two questions on things I'm not sure what they are. What's that skate time school program?
That's throughout the district. They bring the skates in, roller skates. So the kids roller skate during play.
Oh, okay.
And so then the kids have a fee to pay too.
It's like $10 or
Yeah,
$8 or
something.
$10
Yeah,
fee.
for the kids.
Okay.
So that's kind of an in and out dollar amount, so.
The
You
other
can
one,
come and skate anytime.
I never could stand that skate. I don't know, but Scarpa, the other that's connecting carriers, what do they do?
Oh, that's our furniture. So that's all
furniture?
the office desks, chairs,
Okay.
tables, all of that, yeah. And this is the bigger piece of it. Dilworth office is not in there, and our cafeteria tables aren't in there. So there will be another bill coming when that stuff gets delivered. I guess I shouldn't say the Dilworth office site is delivered, it's just in a semi over by the baseball field. So they haven't billed us for that, so, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New and unfinished business, 9.1 policies. This is a second reading of the following policies. 533 wellness, 614 school district testing plan and procedure, 615 testing accommodations, modifications, and exemptions for IEPs, section 504 plans and LEP students, 618 assessment of student achievement, 619 staff development course standards, 703 annual audit, 707 transportation of public school students, 708 transportation of non-public school students, 709 student transportation safety, 713 student activity accounting, 720 vending machines, 802 disposition of obsolete equipment and material. Do we have a motion? Motion by Nicole, is there a second? Second by Brittany. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.2, this is the tentative class of 2022 DGF graduates. In your packet, there's a list of names there. How many is there total? That's okay, I don't have my phone. That's okay.
Somewhere in there.
I was just curious.
That was 96.
96, okay.
All right.
right.
Is there a motion? Motion by Nicole, is there a second? Second by Amy. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
It's possible there can be more added on if they complete stuff. or not.
Yeah, or I suppose somebody could be removed if something doesn't go so well with them. So that's why I think it has to be, because it's, our board meeting is now, we have to approve it, but yeah,
Well, you never know up until the last day most of the time. So,
correct.
All right, 9.3, this is motion to approve the new DGF school district mascot. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by David, is there a second? Second by Nicole. Any questions or discussion?
Now, this did go all right to the whole public so they can see it online, right?
Yeah, it was put on our our weekly communication last week, yeah. And Matt too also said that this board meeting tonight, that would be put on the agenda to approve, yeah.
And I just want to note that although I've never looked at the Rebels mascot and looked at it negatively, I've never seen that through my lenses. But speaking to a bunch of graduates of DGF, they were very supportive of that too. So even though it went out to the community, the kids and I think graduates agreed by and large. I mean, there's obviously some
Sure.
opposition.
Yeah, always, yeah.
I think we're always, you're not gonna always please everybody, and I totally understand that. I think this, building project is really put into perspective for us, spending $40 million and starting to look at inlay and starting to paint and what does that look like? And I just appreciate the discussion that the students had and what they want to look, what they want the Rebel to look like for them. And next year is such an exciting year. I mean, about 30 years ago, our schools combined, Dilworth, Clinton, and Fulton. And next year is our first year, our kindergartners coming in together. And, new school all together, modernization of a Mascot. And it's just, I think, a great time to bring this all together and pull it all together. So as an alumni, I know we're all sad when things change because, no one wants to let go of the past, but our communities have all let go of different aspects of, a locomotive or a buffalo or a tiger. And I just think this is a good thing for these next generation of students coming through our doors, so. But I understand people being sad.
Yeah, for sure.
Just clarification on the gym course, we're not putting the mascot down for right now, or we are?
The center court of the main court says DGF.
Yeah.
That
But
DGF,
the emblem or the mascot picture is not gonna go on.
not on this gym floor, no. It'll be on the walls, and there's other places we'd like to put it now, obviously, to replace the other one, but that'll be a process. I know that anytime you do this, there's always the concern of what's that gonna cost? What's it gonna cost? What's it gonna cost? Well, it was already gonna cost us in this, so we're already taking some of the other mascot stuff off, and we're gonna replace it with this. So it's not gonna be this crazy cost. Other places that it is in the gym, it's a sticker, so if you walk around our high school and you see it all over, you can peel it off. Is there gonna be a cost if we wanna replace it? Sure. We're just gonna have to decide if we want to now or when, it'll be a phase-in process. So, just so people know that too, because that's like, wow, that's not easy to rebrand the school. Well, we're in the process of rebranding already. And so center court's gonna have our DGF, and that's what we have now. The other places that the mascot was gonna be in this building, that was stopped right away because we needed to discuss what are we gonna do. And now that we know what we're doing, that's gonna be some things we'll talk about as we finish the project, so, yeah.
Any other discussion?
It's, a little bit of a heavy part, obviously, with the whole 995, and, to see it go, but, my memories as a DGF Rebel are not gonna be the same as the upcoming years. And so this is a student-led initiative, and, that makes it easier to decide when the kids are coming to you and say, we just don't want to be the letters DGF, we want to have a mascot, we want to have a face to our school. And so when the kids are the ones that are voting on this, and they're the ones bringing it forward to us and saying that this is what we want, I want to support the kids in that decision.
I think basically originally, the original mascot was basically student-led too, folks out there, they looked at all of them, this is what they kind of came up with and tweaked, so, it wasn't something that the board just said, this is what we want, it was basically the students at that time, so. We ran into all the other issues with it, but we're still DGF, we're still rebels.
I agree.
I just think, controversy of whether or not this is somehow represents a confederacy. As long as there's some sort of thought that it could, I think the new logo does a good job of avoiding that. The old logo was essentially similar to UNLV, and of course that was never intended to be a Confederate soldier or officer or anything like that. So even though we've never had any association that way, I think this new logo makes it clear that there is nothing, and that's a good thing. We're not about celebrating Confederacy. So,
Good point. Any other discussion? All right, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 9.4, certified contract for Shaylin Johnson, middle school band, starting effective, start of the 22-23 school year. Do we have a motion?
so move.
Motion by David, is there a second? Second by Nicole. Any discussion or questions?
Takes the place of the one where we had a resignation in.
Yes, yeah, Mr. Johnson.
Retiring, yeah.
Retired. That was retired.
Yeah,
sorry,
he was
yeah.
a retired. Okay, any other questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Right, next board meeting is Monday, May 23rd at 6 o'clock in the high school media center, followed by the personnel committee at the conclusion of the board meeting. Any other things, May 20th, if anybody is able to attend the morning breakfast? Shannon had sent that out. If you're able to attend, great. Is it in the high school?
It's gonna be in Dilworth and the cafeteria. I would say the multi-purpose.
Okay. So if anybody can attend that, and conclusion of this board meeting, budget meeting is gonna happen, and that's it. Any other things, team? All right, 6:36, meeting adjourned.